If you have goals that you haven't been able to achieve or even work towards for a long amount of time, uninterrupted, it's not your fault. You just haven't learned and understood the proper way to build a consistency framework that you can stick to over time. And so in this video, I want to tell you the real reason why you can't stay consistent, the flaws with that mindset that you currently have, and how to actually fix it so you can start building the life that you really want. So the first thing that I will tell you is that consistency is not about identity. Consistency is not about willpower. It's about identity. Excuse me. And see, most men, they try to do the actions that they need to be consistent without mentally becoming the man and committing to the man that is consistent, right? And so the thing is, you don't rise to the level of what you want to do and rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the baseline of the framework and the structure that you've made for yourself. So if you don't build a system, then you won't ever stay consistent and get to where you want to be. So this is why systems and processes run the world and run life. You can't go willy-nilly and whatever you feel like from day by day. You have to have a set routine. If you ever heard the statement discipline equals freedom, this is why. Because when you have a set routine and a set guideline, it takes the thinking out of the process. And it's the same framework and the same structure that you need to wake up daily and do the things that you know you need to do, which are non-negotiables. So that way you can focus on and actually do what you feel like you want to freely do. So once you knock that out and build an actual system, then we can start talking about this. So this leads into my next point of you need to stop relying on emotions over structure. So you need to stop relying on how you feel in that moment and motivation. And so when you only rely on motivation, if you only did most of these things that you want to do when you felt like it, 60, 70, probably even 80% of the time, you would never do it. 60% if you really are a heavily self-motivated person. But if you only rely on how you feel in that moment, chances are you'll never build what you know you need to build for a long period of time. So this is why discipline is structural, and that stays even when you don't feel like it. And this is the most important part. If your system only works when you feel like it, it's a very bad system. And so if you build it so well that it's so easy to do and you feel and you know that it is good for you if you do it, you'll never stop going through with your system, right? And the hidden cycle of self-sabotage is like this. You start strong, you feel progress, you start doing it for a little bit, you relax a little bit, you slip one day maybe you miss, and then you feel bad, but you feel like I missed one day, I could probably miss another one and it won't be that bad. And then you find yourself right back where you started at in the same process. Okay? My throat's getting dry already teaching y'all boys. So this is the trap that makes you exhausted and keeps you in that same repetitive self-sabotage cycle, right? So it leads to a lot of guys feeling like they're lazy or they're not built for what they actually want. But it's because you never actually catch momentum. You keep starting over. And so you need to power through this and not slip up. You need to keep going. And this is right in line with raising your standards to your new baseline. This is the bare minimum that you should be doing on a bad day, right? And so the problem is with why you keep messing up is that you're focusing on the outcome instead of the input. You're focusing on getting confidence or getting money or getting the best physique or getting women, but you haven't locked in the inputs necessary to get there. These things, and it's not just you, it's a lot of people, we focus on the outputs or the outcomes and not the things necessary to put in to get there. So if you focus on putting in daily inputs, it's no way that you won't eventually get an output, right? But you can't get something for nothing. And these things are all byproducts. You can't get a byproduct by focusing on a byproduct. You can't get purple by just focusing on getting purple, right? You have to get red and you have to get blue, right? And so this is the thing that a lot of guys get wrong. You want money, but you're not showing up to work every day, but you're stressed out. That's backwards. You want women, but you're focusing on tactics and techniques and game, but you haven't worked on yourself as a man. You haven't gone to the gym. You haven't got a good fragrance or a good haircut. So this is the problem, man. Flip the script, man. Flip the script. Stop focusing and stop wishing on the results, man. You have to be able to have delayed gratification and trust the timing and trust the process before it's ever there. You have to see it before you see it. And another thing, point number 5 I want to talk about is why discipline hacks never work long term. So, and if you see me constantly looking down, I got my pointers right here. So excuse me, right, for that time. And the thing is that discipline hacks never work long term because it's short term novelty that wears off. A lot of things that you think is good and what you see the self-improvement niches doing of cold showers or, all these alarms or wake up and do this and go as soon as you wake up, sprint 5 minutes and all these little things that may sound cool in the moment, but it's not something that you will actually stick to long term once it wears off. This is the problem. It's not about a certain hack or a certain new self-improvement technique. It's about a framework that stays, okay? Hacks, they're cool for the moment. Once you get tired of them, you realize this is good, but this is not really what's gonna give me the push and the guardrails that I need to stay where I'm at day in, day out and push, right? So this is why men need a disciplined operating system, an OS. You have to install that in you. And life is so much simpler, right? After that. And so this is where you understand that if you're focusing on tactics and hacks and techniques only, these are things that you have to add and things that you have to remember on top of what you're already doing. It's telling you that it's something that you have to install and inputs on top of yourself so that what you're doing is not enough already. But the thing is that consistency actually requires simplification. It's about removal. It's not about adding more things. It's about getting less noise. It's about separating yourself from your friends that want to distract you and take you out every weekend, right? Or the things that are pulling you away from what you want to do, and you think that if you just put something on top of that and put a technique on top of that, you can still eat bad, right? Not eat bad, but that led to my next point where guys are going to the gym and they say, if I just add the gym on top of my eating habits that are bad, then I will still make progress. But it's not about adding that to mask the thing that you're already doing, which is bad. It's about just removing the thing that's bad, and it's that much simpler. You remove the bad eating habits, you remove the junk food, in addition to having a fallback system of going to the gym, and you go up and you progress even that much further. Don't put a Band-Aid on an open wound on a gash. Just remove the gash, bro. Close it all the way up. Get stitches, right? And don't worry about trying to juggle all these bad habits or even just add good habits over the bad habits. It's about replacing it fully, okay? And number 7 I want to talk about is the role of pain tolerance, right? So your ability and your level of success is largely determined by your ability to tolerate pain. And when I say tolerate pain, I mean your ability to tolerate discomfort, right? Because the where you want to get to is a very uncomfortable path. And you have to understand that you want to face your fears and you have to do the thing that's going to be uncomfortable 9 times out of 10. And that's going to be the thing that's going to get you to where you want to be. And it's going to grow you because it's going to shape you in different ways and make you stronger, right? So for what I'm talking about, right? For me personally, this was when I was first starting barbering. I had come from doing a remote job and I felt like I had become very socially inept. Like my social skills had took a hit, bro. This was after COVID, not too long after. And, I was trying to build this digital marketing company. And I'm like, bro, I'm just in this room all day. I'm already introverted, so I need to push myself out in social situations. And so starting barbering where you talk to people all day in, day out, was probably one of the most uncomfortable things that I ever had to do in my life, right? And I had to wear gloves, literally, bro, because my social anxiety was so high and I was nervous because I wasn't sure about like cutting heads yet. I wasn't that good to where I was freaking sweating buckets of sweat out of the gloves. Like I would literally be trying to freaking line somebody's hair up and sweat would be dripping down. And this was probably irrational, right? And I was so nervous, but I stayed in that and I kept myself in there and I played it cool. Nobody would have ever known, right? But eventually it got to where I was used to it after being exposed to that situation so long. And when I got better at doing the haircuts, I already knew when they got in my chair that I would be able to deliver. So I stopped being as nervous. And then also I would say that when I got the barbering regular framework squared away and I was making like $5K a month, I wanted to scale it. And I knew the way I would be able to scale it was I had to use social media and post daily, right? To market to my local area. And the thing is that I was nervous to record, but at that moment, I realized I was so proud of myself because facing the discomfort, my new discomfort was recording with a client. Now, before it was even just cutting their hair and getting it right. So you go up in levels, right? The level of discomfort is different and it's probably even stronger, but you're stronger as well to match it so it doesn't feel as bad. And then I was doing recording. I didn't have them saying anything. It was just voiceovers. And then the next step was asking and having a conversation with them on camera, like, yo, bro, so what you want to get for your haircut? And, why you feel like you wanted to come to me for your haircut? And when you saw me on social media and blank, blank, blank. And other people in the shop, me being afraid of what they would think, and this dude, he's trying to record, and you think you're a social media guy, you think you're Vic Blends or somebody, right? But I had to learn to quiet all of that in my mind and understand that these people's opinions if they don't pay my bills, right? And so I'm going to let them keep me stuck in the same position because I'm worried about what somebody else that doesn't want to improve their life is going to think. So I say all that to say, man, that your pain tolerance and your ability to face the uncomfortable situations is what will get you to where you want to go, right? Because not only is it just uncomfortable, but then when you start winning, then it's boredom, right? Because you feel like you beat the game a little bit, right? When I started making 10K a month consistently and all I was doing was recording every client, then it was starting to get boring at that point. And I'm like, I need a new challenge. But you don't need to break what's working, bro. You don't need to. We think that it's like drinking, right? Even though you don't, listen, I'm going to use this example, but because I know a lot of y'all, if you're old enough, you can relate to this, but I don't even drink, right? So it's like drinking, right? You get to that little point, you're tipsy, you're feeling good, but you think that, okay, if I'm feeling so good now, if I just keep doing it and keep adding on top of it, I will feel even better. This is a trap as what happens when a man starts to master consistency is that you start to over optimize and you think adding more will get better. But remember what I just said about keeping it simple, right? You don't want to add so much and over optimize so much, you start breaking your system. Simple scales, complexity fails, right? Less is more. And so the next point I go into is starting small is actually weak advice if you take it the wrong way. Because what a lot of guys tend to do is they want to start small, but they want to do habits that don't really move the needle forward. You're supposed to be building this brand, right? You're supposed to be getting the website up, building the product or building the service, delivery and selling it. But it's like focusing on logos when you're supposed to be focusing on improving the product. Logos is not going to make somebody choose a decision one way or another at that beginning stage in your business, right? Starting small can lead to mediocrity if you don't have standards. What you need instead of starting small is you need negotiables. You need things that you're going to stick to no matter what, no matter how you feel, right? One high non-negotiable standard beats 10 optional habits. We don't worry about optional, right? We don't worry about what we could do or could not do and nothing would change. That means it's not moving the lever that effectively. So it's not that effective in itself, right? Okay. Now, the next thing is the moment that consistency becomes effortless, right? So consistency is not always hard. We think that it's always going to be this way. And let's say in the gym, we think that, dang, bro, workouts are always going to be this painful if I want to be fit for the rest of my life. But the thing we don't realize is that this stuff starts to stack up and it starts to compound. And your environment is conducive to your growth. Your identity is locked in, right? And you know that you're the guy that's going to stay consistent and build no matter what. And you have the structure. So eventually you stop negotiating with yourself, right? Of should I not do this today or should I do this today? Eventually it's just a regular part of your routine, right? And like I just said, that discipline feels boring at this point and it's just what you do. And your life may feel very uninspiring, but boring is the power, bro. This is where the power lies. And this is when you know you're doing it right. Chaos doesn't lead to structure and where you want to go. All this going out on the weekends, falling back into the same cycles, having this crazy social life. In the beginning parts, you have to cut all of that stuff out until you're on the straight and narrow, until you're starting to make progress with where you want to go. And then you can see with clarity that this isn't what you need, right? And at that point, it's just what you do. And you have to stay in that pocket and tolerate it long enough to eventually where you don't have to work as hard to stay consistent. You don't have to work as hard to make money, stay fit, get women. All of this stuff, the byproducts that you wanted is finally there, right? Because you held it down for long enough. So this is why you need structure and systems, right? And if you need help with your structure and systems, I'm building something that you guys can take and study and listen to as a program to help you implement that if you're lost and you don't know how to get to the goals that you want to get to, right? So let me know if you'd be interested in that type of product or program. And let me know one of the biggest things that you've been struggling with or what you feel like you may need help on. Or if you got value in this video, please drop a like, drop a comment, and help me build this channel so we can spread this message if you're an early adopter, right? I will see you guys. I'm out, man. Stay safe, stay structured, and let's achieve these goals, okay?